it didn't hurt as much as I thought for him to get to draw the blood.
Yeah.
But I said to the guy, your little prick is not so hard. And then I was like, and he just looked at me and he's like, that's one way to say it. And I was like, I'm so sorry.
Laura, thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm so excited to chat with you. We met at the red carpet a few weeks ago. I guess maybe a few months ago now. Crazy.
Yes. It was, I think almost 2 months ago.
Isn't that wild? I feel like the time is just like flying by. Like I can't believe it's May already.
I know. It is really wild this year. It's the year of the fire horse. I don't know if you follow astrology at all, but it's like literally this like kind of running takeoff energy, like, and go, like you're riding a horse that's on fire. Like, let's go.
You know what? I feel like I'm on a horse that's on fire. That makes a lot of sense. Like that's really resonating with my life. I also follow some in Aquarius and I think it's like a 7 or I can't remember. Maybe it was like a 7 or a 9 year like span or like our bad like juju's finally ending. So I'm really hoping that pulls through for me as well.
Yeah, there's been some major shifts in astrology, which are all about like major releasing of old patterns, like old karmic patterns, and now sort of turning over a new leaf. And there's a lot of big endings happening and then things going in new directions. And I can't remember if we talked about it, but I'm also a psychic medium. So I channel. That's part of what I do.
I did not realize you did that. And I saw it. I'm like, oh my God, we have to talk about this.
Okay. Yeah. So this is I can't help but look at all the like the energy and everything. And one of the things that I channeled was this idea that it's this ending of this old way of being, the new way of being. And lots of people in astrology and everything are talking about this too, new way of being. And it's a time for rapid shift and miracles. And it's really important that if something is shifting, that first of all, we allow it to shift and don't try to hold on to the things that are just no longer serving us. But also there's a lot of things happening in our society right now where it might seem like it's a bad thing, but then there's a really positive side to it. And we just have to let it play out and not feel like, you know, the sky is falling because there's a lot of that energy right now.
There is. I feel like there's a lot of that online where it's just like, oh, like, how could it get worse? Or like, there's a lot of like negativity, I think, around just like what's happening in life. And I think it is like a good perspective to have that like, you know, there is a brighter side to what we're seeing right now. It's going to get better.
Absolutely. I mean, there's always a silver lining. I love, speaking of a line from The Crow, which is one of my old school favorite movies. You know, you can't have rainbows without rain, you know? So
exactly. You know, and it's so true. Like, you know, maybe it feels a little cliche, but like, it's true. Like you have to have both things. Like you have to have a balance. Yeah. And okay, I need to know all about being a medium because when I saw that, I didn't realize that because when we had talked on the red carpet, you were like, yeah, like I do comedy, I act, I host, I model. Yeah. I'm like, she does it all. And you're a medium?
And I also do television as myself as a psychic. So I'm always, you know, just depending on what's happening, I might be talking about different things and they all interplay together. Like, I've been on some fairly significant shows and media placements as a psychic, but then also, you know, I'm on set and then I'm acting and, you know, so it's all connected in a way. And I just follow spirit with where I feel guided to go. But yeah, I grew up very much like the kid in The Sixth Sense, seeing ghosts and spirits. And in many cases, they seemed like a live person. Like I wouldn't know that they weren't alive until they do something like walk through a door. And then I was like, oh, I guess they're not physically here.
Wait, so you had a hard time like deciphering if it was reality or if it was just...
Absolutely. Yeah. So I thought for a long time I was actually mentally ill because other people in my family, you know, clearly didn't see the things that I do. And now some of the people in my family are psychic, but not to the clairvoyant level that I am. Yeah. So it does run in families. And so I just kept it to myself. And then it was actually in college that a family friend described a ghost I'd seen, but never told anyone about. And that's when I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not crazy. Because if it was a hallucination, he couldn't also see it.
Right. Yeah. That's a good validation.
And then that kind of like made me realize that this is something. And then I went through this long kind of path and journey to figure out, you know, how to manage it. and how to have energy boundaries, because in the spirit realm, if you don't have strong energy boundaries, you will have a rough time. So I was having a rough time because I didn't know how to enforce those energetic boundaries.
Right. I feel like that would be very challenging. I've had mediums on in the past, and that was one thing I had asked, like, how do you turn it off? Like, how do you just have a peaceful moment to yourself? Because I can imagine like some nights you may lay in bed and, you know, maybe things start happening or you start seeing things. Like, I feel like it'd be very hard to like have that like split.
It can be. Childhood was challenging for me for that reason, because I didn't have any teachers. I didn't know how to manage that. But then as I got older and I started taking training, and I learned that you have to just sort of enforce those energy boundaries and set them for yourself. And once that I figured out how to do that, then it was a total game changer. Now I still have some like interesting adventures when I travel, because like you can set your home energy, you know, more strongly than when you're traveling somewhere else. You can still set like right around you, but you know, if you're in a hotel or someone else's property, you know, there's less like in your control, because it's someone else's energy has set the energy for that property or the history of that area. But still, I've gotten pretty good, or even of tuning in to decide like even where I'm staying so that I can have a better experience.
Do you research places before you visit or before you stay there, just to kind of have an understanding of what it might be like?
I'll feel into it. And then sometimes too, we get called to a place to explore something or get a deeper understanding. So I've certainly been to places. Mexico City was like that for me. I went and I was like, what's going on? There's so much Mexico City, you know, with all the Mayan history, and like, there's so many, you know, people that have come in and out. And so sometimes I go to just do something else. Sometimes that's part of what I'm exploring or getting a deeper understanding of. So I have like 7 books on the spiritual realm. So, you know, there was a period of time where I was kind of researching or trying to understand some of these things in the spirit realm so that I could better navigate in the future.
Yeah. And understand, like, have you ever had an experience where maybe you've sat down with somebody like at dinner, or like because I don't have it. So it's like, I want to understand, like, when you're sitting like in a room full of people, like, do you have things that just kind of happen and you do have to set that boundary? Have you felt called to talk to somebody and be like, hey, I'm receiving this message? Like, how does that play out, I guess?
So one of the things that is important when you have these abilities is to have pretty strong boundaries, or you can get very depleted. It takes a lot of energy to do this kind of channeling work or to receive these messages. And also, you know, compensation is important, because like everyone would like to have free, you know,
of course,
spirit messages, right? Who would have?
Exactly. Who wouldn't?
You literally, I mean, so there's some skeptics that are like, no, but generally speaking, most people are curious and want to know. So I've had to, over time, learn how to be like, that's great. I'm happy to like connect or learn, but this is how you work with me, you know, so that there's energy balance. And so I'm just not depleted. A lot of psychics that don't do that, they end up getting some kind of chronic illness, or they even die young, because it literally is like, you can just drain your life force energy if you're not careful. Yeah. So, what I've said to my angels and spirit guides is, if something's really important for me to pass on or for me to know, please let me know. And then when I'm in my just daily life, I just turn down my psychic ability. I never turn it off, you know, but it's more just like, it's not so in my face, so that I can function in kind of day to day. Like we had a conversation and it was like a normal, it was on a red carpet. Yeah. You know, you weren't like, you know, she's off in the spirit world or whatever.
I was like, what's happening? You didn't like hold my shoulder and be like, I have a message for you.
Yeah.
A message from beyond. Honestly, if you did, I'd be like, oh, this is really fucking awesome. All right, let's, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. Yeah, and I love giving those messages. I've done that. I mean, it's a long time ago, but you can see where I did channeled readings for people on BuzzFeed. So that's like an old video from back in the day, where you can see me doing that, sitting down and just being like, here's what Spirit wants to share with you, you know? Yeah.
Like, girl, I don't know about this for you. So I also saw BuzzFeed, and I've seen that you've been on Vice and and you've been on the Ron Burgundy podcast.
Oh yeah, that was super fun. And I love that because I love comedy. So I do stand up and I write comedy. And I think, on a deep spiritual level, we're here to learn stuff. We're also just here to experience life. And one of the things that's so magical about being here is like levity and laughter and fun. Oh, yeah. So I love that opportunity arrived for me and I just love Will Ferrell. I mean, who doesn't love Will Ferrell? So
exactly.
It was so fun and such a fascinating experience because I have an improv background, acting, podcasting, and, the psychic work. And so, the premise of that is that Ron Burgundy's like a real person and he's interviewing you. So I had to act like he was really, Ron Burgundy. And like, he would say things that like, I would just laugh out loud if I wasn't being interviewed by this, person.
Oh, it'd be so hard. Like, I feel like that would be part of like, your skill set is just like holding back that laughter because he's such like a vibrant, over the top character.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So fun. And I didn't really talk to Will Ferrell until after the interview, meaning like, until we were done the interview, he was pretty much in character. So that was fun too, just to have that. But yeah, I think that's so important. And I think in our society, in our world, things tend to be really serious. Yeah. Like we're overly serious. And actually, it's much easier to solve problems and challenges when we're coming from a place of levity. So I love that you focus on that comedy and that levity. And the more we like laugh at ourselves and don't take ourselves too seriously, the better everything goes.
Absolutely. I'm a firm believer and like you have to laugh about it. And like even when, and maybe like I personally may take it to like a different extreme than other people will, but like if something happens or something traumatic happens, I feel like I got to laugh about it a little bit because it helps me cope. And like,
oh, absolutely. You can laugh or cry. So which one do you want to do? And
exactly.
Do both, and that's okay. There's no judgment here.
Yeah. Like, and I just naturally like, I want to be light and have fun and just, and that's why like, I love the red carpet space because like, I do feel like it can tend to be a little serious. And I'm like, listen, we're going to fuck around a little bit. Like, this isn't like absolutely. Tell me how you got into character moment.
Right, for sure.
So I also saw that you've worked with some celebrities as being a medium. So I think it's like the last thing I want to touch on as far as like being a medium. I feel like we could talk about it for like 4 hours. Just like.
Absolutely.
You know.
So, doing what I do, there's, some public facing things with people that I've worked with. And, they'll talk about it and I can talk about it. But a lot of my celebrity clients would ask for an NDA, so that it's their private life. And it's kind of like, with a lawyer, like, you don't talk about it. It's like client confidentiality and, unless you get permission or they're open to it. Yeah. So I worked with some celebrities on the psychic side as well as, on the business side. Meaning like on TV and acting, various opportunities. But, I think it's important to know that everyone wants support and insight. So regardless of your background, people are doing this. And I also think that a lot more people are doing this than people realize. Like
I agree.
Government leaders, big business leaders, celebrities are doing this. And it's especially in Los Angeles, like everybody has a psychic,
it's like your dentist, your doctor, your gyno. Everyone's got a psychic.
Yeah, I remember. So I used to study in London and I had a serious relationship in London. So I was spending a lot of time in London. And I would meet people and they'd be like, what do you do? And I'd say, I'm a psychic. And then they'd be like, but what do you do for a living? I'm like, I'm a psychic. And I could just see like in Europe, it's just not the same like kind of level, like not as many people do it.
Yeah.
Whereas especially in California as a whole, people are like, oh yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Very in touch with the spirit world here.
Yes. Yeah.
And I feel like you've lived such a life. I feel like you just keep dropping little nuggets. Like you're like, oh, I'm a medium. And oh, I just did some comedy. And oh, I was in London. Like I feel like you've done it all, girl.
I will say that I had an interesting start and I have had an unusual life.
Yeah.
So I was actually born in France and moved to the US as a girl. And my parents were hippie musicians. So like they toured, like we would have like car camping, you know, like a car, and then we'd pop a tent and like various places.
Stop.
And then, you know, go to like Greece and, you know, Italy and, you know, various places. So that was my like early childhood. And then we left my father and moved to the United States to Southern California. So I didn't speak any English when we came to the United States. And it was like, we were like, our house in France had a coal stove, and that's where we heat up the water. And we had an outhouse.
Stop it.
Yeah. Yes. And then we moved to California, to Claremont. And then it was like swimming pool, and we go to Disneyland. And it was just like, so my whole sort of origin story is already pretty crazy. So like, where do you go from there when that's what you started with?
Right. You only go up and out. Like you are just the way you're experiencing life. Like the thought of like touring with your parents around the world and seeing so many different cultures and meeting so many different people at a young age, like you'd have to just keep going. You can't have a complacent life, you know? And
I think one of the things I'm a bit of a daredevil, and just even on the psychic side or just going up and talk to people, like I don't have a lot of fear, you know, but I think it's just like when you start out the way I did, and then you have my psychic abilities, that there's not much that can shake me up.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't think so. I mean, especially that I'm sure like being a psychic probably, and this is like a weird, I guess, correlation to make, but it probably helped with improv. Like being able to just roll with the punches.
Absolutely. And also I channel stuff. So I just did a TV show, and without saying more details on it, it was like as me, not acting, but everything that I did was channeled. Meaning like there was a challenge, and it's like, here's what you have to do. And like we couldn't use technology, you know, right? And then it's like, well, it's full on, like, here's what to, they basically, they tell me, the spirit guides tell me what to do.
Stop. That's awesome.
To be success. Yeah. So, or like, even when I'm writing, it's like, I have a writer's room in my head. I'm like, what am I going to do for this plot point? And then they're like, and they, you know, so it's very helpful. And I want to say that even though I've practiced this and I'm very clairvoyant and I have a lot of, you know, kind of natural abilities, everyone has some abilities, and a lot of people have just never tapped into it, right? Mm-hmm. So they don't even know what they're capable of. Like there's something called controlled remote viewing. So I have a podcast called Healing Powers Podcast where I explore a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I interviewed this guy, Russ Targ. Russ Targ wrote a book called Third Eye Spies. Third Eye Spies is about the secret government spying program where they used psychics to spy on the Russians.
Stop. That's
through
incredible.
Controlled remote viewing. So if you want to check out, you can listen to that interview on the podcast.
Yeah.
But he basically said anyone can be trained to do this with practice. And I believe it. It's just some people have more natural automatic ability, and some just need more training because they just don't have it automatically.
Yeah.
So I just want to share that, yes, I've tapped into this. I do think I have strong natural ability, but like, how would anyone know if they were a good painter if they never had paint? You know, so
true.
Access to paint, you know, meaning like the tools to do the thing. So I feel like psychic abilities are like that, where there's a lot of people that have untapped potential within themselves. And you don't have to want to be a psychic medium to access this. Like when you tap into your intuition or your psychic abilities, you get so much clarity about so many things in your life.
I feel like when you're centered with yourself and you can trust like your gut, that's really like understanding your intuition. I have a medium friend, Tawny Lewis, who was doing a workshop, and I was like, all right, like I'm going to try it. And it's just to kind of like tap in to see like if you have these abilities or how strong they are. And we did this exercise at the end where we were in this older home, and she's like, just feel the energies, like see, you know, what you're reading, what you're feeling. And me, I'm like looking at all this like antiques. Like I felt like I was antiquing. I'm like, ooh, like I wonder if I could find something like this, or how much this is. Like I was so focused on the actual items in the house that I was just like, I don't think I have it. Or if I do, it's very minimal. It's not there.
Yeah. And the other thing is that I think there's a certain amount of relaxing we need to do to allow for things. Because if we don't think we can, we won't, we won't. Right. And so there's that. And there's also that different people have different types of abilities, meaning some people are very clairvoyant. Some people just know things. Some people receive information through touch. So a big part of learning to tap into your own abilities is understanding all the different ways that information can come through.
Yeah.
And then exploring for that, because not everyone's built differently. Like a lot of people expect to see, and I am a seer, I'm a clairvoyant, but not everyone has that as their strong psychic sense.
Yeah.
So just understanding that. And even within clairvoyance, like people will meet me and they'll say, what does my aura look like? And I'm like, I don't see auras. I'm very clairvoyant, but that's, so that doesn't mean that I'm not clairvoyant, but like some people see auras and some people don't that are clairvoyants.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, I don't know. And maybe I wasn't relaxed enough because like it was like a group of people. So like, I think there's some weirdness with that as well. Also,
when we're trying to receive information or we're opening up to receive information, we have to understand that it can be hard to focus on what we're trying to if there's a lot of other people there or there's a lot of physical noise or some kind of something that's distracting.
Yeah.
And so did you ever see those 3D photos where if they're kind of pixelated and if you look at them just right, then the 3D image pops out?
Yes. Yes.
Sometimes psychic abilities are like that. It's almost like if you try too hard, like if you really focus on those pictures, you're not going to see the 3D part. You have to kind of like unfocus. So there's this weird part with certain psychic abilities where it's like that. And it's a weird kind of muscle to use. So you have to like learn. So like a lot of people see clairvoyantly out of the corner of their eye. I don't know if you ever had that where you thought you saw something out of the corner of your eye.
I have. Yes. Yes.
Okay. It's very common. And one of the reasons is that your physical eyes work by focusing, like the lens actually focuses. And then the third eye is kind of the opposite. It's almost by unfocusing or doing that you see more clearly. Yeah. And so when you're seeing out of the corner of your eye, you're not physically focusing with your physical eye. So you can see clairvoyantly better on the outskirts. So that's why a lot of times people see something in the corner and then they'll look and then they're using their physical eye, not their third eye more. And then it kind of phases out and they can't see.
Oh, that's wild. And, makes me, now that I'm thinking back to like moments where like I've had that happen, I'm like, that was just casually my third eye catching something. It's fine. It was actually there. Because you try to convince yourself, you're like, no, there's nothing there. Like, it's fine. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. I'll remember that.
I always want people to know that, we can be safe. And if you're ever feeling like unsure, call on the angels to help you. Michael and Raphael are a great one. And actually, Raphael would like to talk because he's like, I call him like the stand-up comedy angel.
Okay.
Raphael, his name means healer of God. He's an archangel and he's so funny.
Yeah.
So like but he's also a protector. So if you're ever like, I don't know what's going on right now, you could be like, hey Raphael.
Like, hey,
help me out.
Don't love this. I'm not feeling this.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can ask him. He's also good for like money, chance meetings, healing, love, and traveling. So yeah, he's good for all kinds of stuff. If you want to talk to him, invite him into your life.
It sounds like Raphael and I need to be buds. It sounds like I need to invite him in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
To do the things. Yes. Absolutely. So
absolutely, like he and the other angels, when I'm doing comedy bits or writing, like they're like, they're giving me stuff, which is fun.
Oh. So I need some material from him for sure. I need to tap into that a little bit. I need some assistance. When you were saying that you almost have like a writer's room in your head, which I find so fascinating and so cool. Have you ever done crowd work that way when you've been on stage?
So here's the thing, the things that I call out sometimes it's just fully, yeah. So, and I've had it be on the other side too, where, I just like, when the comedian is talking to you and you talk back to them. So yeah, fully. Like I think this is the angels having a laugh. I unintentionally say dirty things all the time that I mean cleanly, but then it sounds like so dirty.
Yep.
And I'll give one that happened in my recently. So, have you heard of like blood microscopy?
No.
Okay, so blood microscopy is when you look at your live blood under a microscope. So I featured this guy on my podcast, that's what they do. It's good for looking at different health metrics because you can see your white blood cells, your red blood cells, like how are your platelets? Like it's a very interesting thing to do for health. But so it didn't hurt as much as I thought for him to draw the blood.
Yeah.
But I said to the guy, your little prick is not so hard. And then I was like, and he just looked at me and he's like, that's one way to say it. And I was like, I'm so So, but I just think sometimes even as like the angels are like, they'll just get me to say things where I don't even like mean it that way, but then we all laugh and it's great.
I love it. It's like it was meant to be so innocent, and you were just so like, just matter of fact, like this is what it is, and he's just like, ma'am.
Exactly.
Listen, it's the year of the fire horse. You just gotta.
Yeah. Well, we already talked about. You gotta laugh. Like you gotta laugh at life because, like, why not? It's pretty ridiculous. And also from a psychic spiritual perspective, we're immortal spirits, right? In the energy world, in the spirit realm, in my opinion. So, things that even in our human life seem so serious, and it's like on the bigger level, it's like a game. Like in a lot of ways, incarnation is like a game. So whether you think of it as incarnation or the Matrix, in many ways, it's not real. Like not in the way that we tend to move through life.
Right.
Like it's real.
Right.
It's kind of like in a video game. And if you take it less seriously, I find that things work out better anyway.
I think I need to adopt a little bit of that because I feel like, when I'm having like an outfit crisis or like just a crisis about anything, because I'm very prone to that, I really just need to bring it in and be like, it's really not as serious as you're making it at this very moment.
Absolutely. And so Cher is credited with saying something like this, if it doesn't matter in 5 years, it doesn't matter. And I'm constantly reminding myself that. But by the way, she and I have the same birthday, not the same birth year, obviously, but like the same day of the month. Yeah. And so I'm like, yes, absolutely, Cher, love Cher. But that's always a helpful piece to remember is like, in the moment, something may seem really important, but in the bigger picture, when you zoom out, even a year, next week, whatever, is how much is this really going to matter?
Right. Like how much is this really going to matter? How much is this going to impact? Like me having a mental breakdown about 2 black tops that are very similar is not going to matter even in like a few hours. My birthday twin is Charlie Day.
Oh, that's fun. I love Charlie Day. Yes.
I do too.
We have good birthday twins. I love that.
We do. When you said Cher, I was like, okay, mine's Charlie Day. This is awesome.
Yeah. Fabulous. Love it.
I love it so much. So much. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about, I know we talked about comedy a little bit. Let's talk about like just acting and what that realm has looked like for you in your career.
Yeah. So I started acting when I was a child, and then I actually majored in theater in college, and I did a lot of stage work. And I also did improv starting very young. Actually, one of my first jobs was in an improv troupe, which is so funny. I worked for a company called Attention Homes for at-risk youth, and we would do improv skits talking about like youth issues. So it's so fun. I like literally started out very young doing acting, and then I actually just went and had a more serious career. So talking about all this is very like relevant for me too in my history. I went and had a career in government and politics after that. And then
Shut up. This is wild.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I worked
this
in
is
the
wild.
Office of University. I was an appointed official. I ran for city council. I was a state delegate in Assembly and Convention, which is an elected position. I was the chair of the public art committee. I did all of these things. It was and then my whole life fell apart. So it's part of this whole kind of like new beginning that I had where I went to a psychic because my life was a mess. And she was like, oh, when you shut out your psychic abilities, you shut out your tuition. And then, so for me, like re-tapping into my psychic abilities and then my creativity were very like tied hand in hand. So while I was building my psychic business, I was making my living as an actress in theater. And then I, at some point was like, I just make a lot more money as a psychic. So I just kind of focused for a while on that. And then now I'm in a great place where like, I just run my business and then I, go do opportunities on the performing side as they come up. I just got cast in a Christmas movie in a supporting role, which is fun, acting for that. So I'm just like wherever spirit kind of flows for me at this point is, what I'm doing. And I think that spirit, meaning like spirit, God, the universe is really working a lot through media right now, one way or the other. So whether it's podcasting, whether it's films, whether it's, stories, books, social media, whatever, that media is how people are receiving helpful information. So for me, it's like whatever moves the needle. And I just was on a television show, and like on the surface level, it was a business show, but on the deep level, it was like, I was talking about being a psychic. So like suddenly all these people will get this information. Right. So I'm always just like, whatever, but I love acting because I think I channel for acting as well. Like I sing and perform Marilyn Monroe, and I remember a friend coming to see me and she was like, Laura, it was like, it was not even you up there. I'm like, that's because I'm channeling. Yeah. So I can do that when I perform. And even though I think I'm a very light spirit, like I definitely believe in the win-win-win principle. I'm really good at playing evil characters. And I think it's because it's kind of like a plaything for me. Like, it's like, okay. But it's just funny. So I'm very much a chameleon. And I think that serves me for acting. So I'm actually trying to do more comedy reel work, meaning like get some more comedy bits for my reel, because most of what I have is more on the serious side. And also I do have, like, if I don't smile, I have that Eastern European, like, resting bitch face. I do. Like, I sent my friend has a fashion line, and he like had done a prototype for me to try. And I sent just like a selfie mirror shot. And he was like, do you like it? You don't look happy. I'm like, this is just my neutral expression.
This is just me and my natural habitat. This is just my face. This is what it does. But like, that's so funny that you say that, because like, I just feel like, you just have such an eloquent like vibe to you. And like,
oh, when I'm me, but then like, if I like, so my father's Serbian and Croatian, and it's like kind of like, Russians, Ukrainian, very like serious.
Yeah.
It's very serious. And what I remember as an adolescent, people constantly were like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then I started to become way more smiley, because I realized that my neutral expression, people read as being upset or angry. And so I literally just constantly I'm a little smiley. I'm a little,
just a little something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is funny because we do, on the acting side, this, like, you have a type, and like people naturally will cast based on certain elements of what you look like. And it's not necessarily how you choose to be. It's just
right. It's just when you walk into a room, it's like how people perceive you. That's one of the very interesting things I've found about as I'm learning more about acting, and I'm talking to actors and actresses, and like they're in this space, and it's crazy because it's like you can't take anything personally, because it's just how you're being read when you walk into the room. It has nothing to do with your ability sometimes.
Yes, for sure. It's very true. You can't take it personally.
Yeah, it's just
and on the acting side, I want to share with you something that I thought was so fascinating when it came through. So I've had a lot of past lives as a man, and I'm very clearly feminine in this lifetime. I have very feminine form. But what the spirit guides told me is that this is like your lifetime costume. Like this is what you needed for this life to perform the role that you're here to play in this life. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, that makes so, as an actor, I was like, oh, I get it. That totally makes sense to me, because this is what's needed, right, for the role. And so that can happen too, where that's why I don't, I take good care of myself and everything, but I'm not like, this is not me. It's how I look right now. But like the real me is like the soul inside. Right.
Right. And
so, it's important to remember that, and then not to take it personally, because like that's just what you look like in this lifetime, but your soul is really so much more than this anyway.
Right. It's just so much more. I do want to ask about this, like past lives. Like when you say that you have a past life, or like you have been like, a male energy in the past, like do you have, and this may be like such a wild question to ask, but do you have like snippets of those lives? Do you understand what your spirit was like in that life, or do you just know that was something that you lived?
It's a combination of things. So like, for example, when I was a kid, I was really obsessed with Egypt, and like weirdly so, like 7-year-old with like Nefertiti in your room, like, like not what is the typical thing. Like it'd be like normally like a Disney character or something. Right.
Right.
And I just always was like super fascinated and interested. And then interestingly later, so my first job out of college was working on a theatrical production of Grease the Musical at the American University in Cairo. So I got sent on a business trip that I, by the way, did not seek out. Like, it was presented to me and I think it's because I needed to go there to address some past life stuff. So sometimes there'll be an interest, and even like you'll get pulled to a place where you have a lot of past life energy. Sometimes it's specific memories. Sometimes it's just like that. Like, you're just really drawn to a particular culture or time or location. Okay. And then in my case, once I got my psychic abilities, I started to have flashes. Like, I literally will, it's almost like a video. Like, I see it. And occasionally with a person, if I've had a lot of past life with them, I will be looking at their face, and then their face like morphs into the other faces that we've had together.
That's wild. The
first time that happened, I was like, what the F is happening?
Oh my God, how could you not be scared? Like,
well, I wasn't scared because, again, I had like, what people would feel like crazy experiences, but doing what I do. But it was like, what is happening? Like, it took me a while to understand that that's what that was. Like, when that happens, when I see someone and their face morphs like that, that's what's going on.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be a little jarring because, physically you're in front of somebody.
Time, I was like, what's happening right now?
You're like, what's happening? I haven't had a drink. Yeah. What's going on?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But, sometimes I'll literally just, when it's the time for me to understand it, it'll just pop up and I'll get a clarity. And it's often involving a particular person.
Okay.
Like, why am I connecting with this person? Why is this pattern coming with this person? And then I'll see the life that's associated with that pattern in the current life.
Okay.
In that person.
I appreciate you sharing that, because when you drop that like little snippet about past lives, I'm like, that's always something that's like fascinated me. And I just wanted to like learn a little bit more about like, if you've experienced that or how that like resonates in your life now.
Yeah. So past life readings are some of my favorite types of readings to do, because they're always so interesting and usually will shed a lot of light about what's going on with the person. So like, I had one client years ago where immediately all this past life came up with past life persecution as a witch, right? Being burned as a witch or persecuted as a witch. So by the way, most of these women were just healers or just women being women. And then it was, so yeah. And then literally just me saying it, she saw things, she cried, and like was able to release so much of that past life energy. So if that's something anyone wants to explore, that is one of the things that I do. And it's always helpful and very fascinating, to get clarity or understanding about that. And if we're holding on to that past life trauma, sometimes even just acknowledging it will give a space for you to release it as a soul.
Yeah. And heal. That's so fascinating. I'm like, we might have to do that sometime. That sounds really fun.
It's so fun. It's like I said, it's very clarifying and interesting, helps people understand, their interests, why they're drawn to certain things, why they're in certain patterns, because on a soul level, whatever we're in will just kind of play out to stronger and lesser degrees until we get the lesson. And so, like, for example, in a past life, you may have been literally a slave and now you're maybe in an unhealthy financial relationship or something,
Yeah.
And so it's like, you could physically walk away. You're not like in shackles or something, but like the pattern will likely still be there until you figure out whatever it is that you're here to learn to release it as a pattern.
Ooh, I feel like that's some deep, just deep fruit for thought, like, especially as you are going through this life and you're facing challenges, like that could be something that you may have faced in the past. Like I've just never thought about it that way.
Absolutely. I mean, of course I have a different perspective than a lot of people because of how I experience the world, but essentially there are no accidents with what happens for us or the things that are happening. And the beautiful thing is that we have so much free will and choice. And as we learn and shift, our life shifts. Like, I have such a different life than I did, even 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's constantly shifting, and it can be whatever we want it to be. I really feel like this could be whatever, magical journey you want it to be, this magic carpet ride or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's totally up to you. So, and there are people that are like, believe and experience the world in a lot more kind of practicality. And I love Harry Potter for that analogy. Like, are you in the magic world or the muggle world? They're both options and there's no judgment here. It's just, which do you prefer? Which do you want to be in?
Right. Which do you have your 2 feet in and you're experiencing at this moment? And I think that's something I've even learned, like coming from like a smaller town in Pennsylvania to like living here in Los Angeles. There's just so many different people living different lives. And it's not just the traditional 9 to 5 that I was so used to seeing. It opened up my mind a lot.
Absolutely. Same thing. I grew up in Colorado. We moved from France to California and then settled in Colorado. And Colorado is very like grounded, kind of practical. There's mountains and So I fully hear you. I remember when I went to Los Angeles and I was like, this is so different over here.
I know. I'm like, wait, what's everybody doing? Like, this is like, a life? Like, I think at first there's like just this perception that like, it's like everybody's on vacation because it wasn't my reality for so long.
Right. Yeah. I remember when I first shifted out of politics and government and I had started my podcast, Healing Powers Podcast, and I was starting to do readings. I could tell that people were like, what are you doing? Like, I don't understand what you're doing.
Yeah. Like, what do you do?
Coming from politics, which is such a like, government kind of stability kind of thing. And then, but then after I did for a while, I'm starting to people start being, okay, I guess it's whatever it is working. And ultimately it's just totally up to us what we want our lives to be like. And it's our choice and not to judge other people. I think judgment is something that is so easy to get into. Yeah. But the truth is we never really understand where someone else is on their spiritual path and their journey, what their own challenges have been. And if someone is going through something on some level, that's what they need or are choosing. And it's really not for us to decide or judge. And the more we can be and like light and neutrality about other people, the better everything unfolds for us. And it's way more fun. Have you heard of the drama triangle?
No. Tell me about it.
Okay. Drama does and can make for some interesting comedy. So I will say that. But the drama triangle is basically that in drama, there is a rescuer, there's a victim and an attacker.
Okay.
So you're always playing one of those roles in drama.
Okay.
Or you're not in drama. And so just realizing that and then just deciding like, do I want to be in this drama cycle or not? Or maybe I just want to have some fun and laugh was really helpful for me. And since I had that clarity, I do laugh a lot more and I have a lot more fun.
Absolutely. And like, let's exercise our free will and not worry about what other people are doing and filling their time with. Like, find your joy, find what makes you happy, laugh about it.
Yeah. Even in the like ridiculous things that happen to us, there's always something funny about it.
Oh, for sure. You can always find some levity in the most wild things that happen, which I feel like translates very well to Dammit moment time. So I am ready to hear your Dammit moment. Great. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell a story about just that. So I one time had a new ring and I usually take my rings off, but like this one night I forgot to take my rings off before I went to sleep. So I woke up and my hand had swelled or the finger had swelled and the ring was stuck. I don't know if you ever had this happen where you have like a ring stuck on your finger. Uh-huh. And so I was like researching how do you get that off? By the way, I was in Egypt, so I was in a different country. So there's naturally that other level. Like I wasn't just at home. So I researched and one of them is like you can put your finger in your mouth and get it wet and then like pull it off, right? Okay. So basically you go like this and like a
little natural lube. Yep. Uh-huh.
Lube. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to try that. But I kind of like didn't accommodate for the fact that I have lots of custom nails and they were a little longer than this. So I went like this and almost vomited all over my fingers. No! Poke myself in the, the place to create yourself to have the vomit reflex. I literally gagged and then I was like, oh, oh God, this is not like what I want to be doing right now. Like that. And thankfully I didn't actually vomit, because then I would have had like a swollen finger with a stuck ring and covered in vomit.
There'd just be so much happening at once, like so many tragedies. Like, you have your ring stuck, your finger swollen, you just vomited everywhere. Like,
yeah. And if you've ever had this happen, the longer it's on, it tends to be that this more swollen it gets. So it's kind of like an escalating problem. So as it's happening, like I'm trying to I know on a deep level, it's going to be fine. Like, it's going to be fine.
Right.
Psychically, I know, but still you're fighting your your body's like stress reaction to the situation. And eventually I was able to do two things, which is if you ever get stuck in this situation, there's several options, but one of them was you can use string to try to get it underneath if you can get it. And then you wind it around your finger. And then when you unwind the string, it comes off. So I did a combination of like that and sticking it under cold water. And then I did, but it was actually, even while I was doing it, I was like, this is actually pretty funny.
It's hilarious.
And in life, like most things, it was a totally self-created problem.
Right.
Like I even had a moment, which I'm sure was my spirit guides when I was going to bed, where I was like, I should take the ring off. And then I just got distracted and I just didn't take it off.
Yeah.
And it was just like still there. But like, I am grateful I didn't actually vomit on it, because that would have been a lot more unpleasant and more to deal with.
It would have been a little unfortunate at the time.
Yeah.
It definitely would have been, but like it just makes for a good story.
If your finger swells with the ring on, don't panic. There's some options, but just don't make yourself vomit on yourself.
Especially if you get your nails done. Like just maybe think about it a little bit before. Which is something I would totally do, but like I feel like
I literally was just like in my bathroom of my hotel, having this whole thing play out.
This whole like mental moment. Was butter an option for like getting it off? Like I
didn't have any in my hotel room. Like I probably could have gotten some, but I also was just trying to like not have to call room service and do the whole thing. I was trying to just get it resolved like as quickly as I could. And like I said, it still resolved itself, just fine, but it was pretty funny.
Could you imagine if you called room service and you're like, listen, I need butter, ask no questions. Just bring me butter right now. Oh my God.
I'm sure they get way weirder requests than that.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't think anything of it. They're just like, whatever. She just needs some butter for whatever reason. It's fine.
Yes. And then I also have, I think this is the one I told on the red carpet, was where I accidentally stabbed my sister with a pencil. That was also another good one. So I was walking up the stairs. My sister was walking down the stairs. I kind of tripped up the stairs, went to stop my fall, tried to grab my sister, but I had a pencil in my hand. So I went into her thigh. It obviously felt horrible. Like it's not like I intended to stab my sister with a pencil. Yeah, she wasn't very happy. I don't blame her at all.
I mean, yeah, like it's not an ideal thing to happen, to get stabbed by a pencil,
And also, worst thing, it was like I just would have landed with my hands on the stair, like no big deal.
Right. It would have been fine, but you really got her. Did you use that like later? Were you just like, remember that time I stabbed you?
I think she still kind of holds it against me a little bit, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do.
I'm so sorry I stabbed you. My bad. Oh
yes, yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, Laura, you have done everything from being an elected official to like being in a Christmas movie, which I'm honestly so excited about. I am a hoe for a Christmas movie. I love Christmas movies.
I'm such a Christmas dork. So yeah, I'll have to keep you posted when it comes out. Please. It's a very sweet story.
Please. I'm so excited to see it. And you've literally done everything. And it's been such a pleasure to talk to you today.
Oh, you too. Thank you so much for having me on the show and for doing all you do. You also have fabulous energy. I always like to reconnect and work with people that have good energy.
Thank you. And I felt the same way about you. As soon as I met you, I was like, I love her. She has a great energy. Like I felt like we vibed really well as soon as we met on the red carpet. And it's so hectic too that sometimes it is hard to like get a read on somebody, but I felt like you and I like instantly clicked. So I'm really happy that we had the time and we were able to do this today. And I am so excited to look more into your podcast. So can you tell everybody where to follow you, more about your podcast, just all the things, because you're doing the most right now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So my podcast is called Healing Powers Podcast. So my name is Laura Powers. So it's tied in with that. And you can find it on, Spotify, all the big Apple Podcasts, all the big podcast platforms. And then you can find my books on Amazon under Laura Powers, Laura Michelle Powers. And then the easiest way to connect with you is probably Instagram, which is Laura Powers 44. 44 is an angel number, so that's why I have that. And then my website is healingpowers.net.
Awesome. Well, Laura, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I'm just so happy that we were able to sit down and chat. And thank you for the Dammit moments too. They were pretty solid.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure to share. And I love that you do this because it is like, there's always a silver lining. And if we could just laugh about it later, it's all good.
Absolutely. Bottom line, we just have to laugh about it. We got to laugh about everything.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much. I'm so happy that we were able to sit down today. And friends, we will see you next week on the podcast.